Inquisitor! Hooray! Inquisitor! Hooray! ఇంకోసారి హూరే
Good evening, everyone who joined our Facebook Live tonight. Before I get started, please share our Facebook page to your friends and family, to more people around you, so that they will know what is the topic I'm sharing tonight. Thanks all of you joining our Facebook Live tonight. So please share our Pati Bumi Kenyalan live Facebook page to your friends and family, so they will come in to join our Facebook Live tonight. Thank you. I'm Leslie Ting from Miri. Tonight, I would like to share with you why Sarawak needs her independence for a better tomorrow. When I ask, especially Sarawakians who are around me, I ask them, are you satisfied with the Sarawak now? Most of the Sarawakians opine that they are not satisfied with the Sarawak now. So when someone is not satisfied with Sarawak, what is the reason behind it? So most of the people will say because of the government. So who is the government of Sarawak? GPS. GPS is the current government of Sarawak. So if Sarawakians are not happy with Sarawak, that means that something is wrong with our government, GPS. So what is the reason behind it? Why there are so many Sarawakians who are getting tired and unsatisfied with our GPS government? So today I will share a few reasons that all the Sarawakians should know about it. The first one, under the Territorial Sea Act 2012, it unilaterally reduced the territorial sea of the Sarawak from 12 nautical miles to 3 miles. So it has been reduced about 9 nautical miles. So with the 9 nautical miles, Sarawak lost a lot of the resources from the sea to our federal government. Besides that, the 1974, there's a Petroleum Development Act, which are passed by our federal government. So what is the Petroleum Development Act? This act, it allowed Petronas to have vested interest over oil and gas in Sarawak. So what is the consequence of this act to Sarawak? So pursuant to the Petroleum Development Act, Sarawak lost her oil and gas resources, marine wealth, territorial waters, and water to the Federation of Malaya. So revenue from these resources could be used to develop Sarawak. But under the GPS or the Barisan Nasional, Sarawak has lost them. As we know that Petronas is pumping away about 850,000 barrels of Sarawak crude oil. So it's about taking away Sarawak wealth of about 150 million a day. And with the gas, Sarawak has lost a wealth of over 100 billion a year. There's a lot of money. If Sarawak has this kind of money get back to us, we can develop our lag infrastructure. A lot of things were left behind Malaya. However, because of the lost resources, that's why Sarawak is far behind Malaya right now. Some people say that Sarawak is behind Malaya for about 30 years, but I think it's quite reasonable to say that Sarawak is definitely behind Malaya for about 30 to 40 years in aspect of infrastructure, development of the road and everything. And I think everyone know that not long ago, should be last month, the Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister Department, Dato Ahmad Maju Shari. He said that the federal government is drafting a bill of 4 Sharia laws, including bills on control and restriction on the development of non-Muslim religions. So this is going to bring a very big impact to Sarawak because it is unconstitutional and it will harm the spirit of Malaysian unity and harmony, especially for Sarawak. Why? Because by controlling and restricting the development of non-Muslim religion, it will create a lot of fear and uncertainty among Sarawakians because we knew that and we know that Sarawakians have been living and practicing our religion in peace and harmony. But the news from the federal government, their intention to draft the bill on the 4 Sharia law is going to upset all the Sarawakians. Besides that, like last month, there's another news from our federal government. Our federal government is going to impose a 51% Bumiputra ownership or 51% Bumiputra equity requirement for the freight forwarding companies business. I heard that many people complain about it, and now they try to delay, but we know that it is coming. This shouldn't happen. Why? Because by imposing this requirement, the transparent and performance-based environment to cater an increasing competitive market will be destroyed. So it's going to bring a big impact, especially to non-Bumiputra. Again, 3 days ago, on the 6th of October, our minister in Prime Minister Department, Dato' Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi, what did he say? He said that the government is going to amend the bill. What is the bill? He said that amend the bill to restore some provision of the Malaysia Agreement 1963, MA63. Is it fair to us? All the Sarawakians here online, you ask yourself, why should this happen? And why should this not happen? The amendment, they're going to amend the federal constitution to restore some of the Sarawak rights pursuant to the MA63 agreement. But what are they going to amend? They did not say anything about it. They are quite silent about it. Even if they amend the federal constitution, it's for the goods of Sarawakians, but it's actually very dangerous to us. Why? Why did I say so? So how many MPs, member of the parliament, is in Malaysia right now? It's about 222. So how many of those MP are actually Sarawakians and Sabahan? It's about 50 of them. So the MPs who consist of Sarawakians and Sabahan is merely about 25%. That means that any amendment, if passed, it will be approved by mostly non-Sarawakians and non-Sabahan. There is Malaya people will decide the destiny and fate of Sarawakians. Why should we let this happen? So it is unfair that our rights have to be determined by non-Sarakians, especially by Malaya people. Is it fair to us? I think everyone is not happy about this. So we know that under the current government, GPS, many of our Sarawak rights has been taken away by our federal government. Did our current Sarawak government get the right backs to us? No, in the past 58 years, we have seen that our current government, GPS or Barisan Nasional, they have not done anything or they have not tried to get back our rights. This is why Sarawakians has been suffer for the past 58 years. So why Parti Bumi Kenyalan talk about independence? So what is the stand of Parti Bumi Kenyalan? Because we know that under the federal government, our rights of the Sarawakians will never be restored. Like what is recommended by Junaidi. He said that the federal government is looking into to restore the rights of Sarakians under MS-63. And they are going to amend the federal constitution. Why? If they want to restore the rights of Sarakians, they can just abolish the Territorial Sea Act 2012 and the Petroleum Development Act. It's easy. But they try to pushing and say that they are going to restore our rights by amending federal constitution. Even if they amend the federal constitution, are they going to do something to restore our rights? So based on all this of uncertainty and based on our experience for the past 58 years, we know that as Sarakians, we cannot base our hope on the current Sarawak government or on the federal government. Parti Bumi Kenyalang, our stand regarding the MA63 is that MA63 is illegal and is void from initial. Why? Because Parti Bumi Kenyalang emphasized that the MA63 is not valid when it was signed. It is not valid because at the time it was signed, Sabah, Sarawak, and Singapore are still the British colonies. Being a colonist, we have no legal capacity to execute or to sign an agreement. However, MS-63 has been signed. So we say that a colony doesn't have legal authority to make agreement with a parent company. We are not like talking for fun or talk ourselves, self-talk, self-shop, like in Chinese we say that. Because according to the decision of the ICJ, International Court of Justice, in 2019, the ICJ court stated that the parent country and the colonies being unequal status could not enter any agreement between each other. There's a case emphasized by the ICJ, the case of the Chagos Island concerning this. The agreement signed between Mauritius and United Kingdom was declared by the ICJ as invalid because Mauritius at that time was still a British colony. That is why the agreement signed is invalid. So this is exactly the same position as what Sarawak has done in MA 63. So Party Bumi Kenyalang, our saying is that MA 63 is illegal. So if it is illegal, can we get our independence? How can we get our independence? So before that, I will talk about some history. Like Sarawak was declared independent nation in 1841 by Sir James Brooke, and this independence was recognized internationally. However, some say that after Sarawak joined Malaysia and Sarawak gained her independence. Is it true? It's definitely not true. Malaysia was formed upon signing of the MA 63 agreement. And Sabah and Sarawak at that time are still British colonies. So if through the formation of Malaysia, Sarawak and Sabah gained their independence, then same can say it applies to Singapore. However, we know that Singapore only declared her independence after leaving Malaysia. So this means that under the current Sarawak has not gained her independence by forming Malaysia with Malaya, Singapore, and Sabah. Although the 22nd of July was declared as Sarawak Independence Day by our Sarawak government, but we know that the 22nd of July is only gazetted as a public holiday and it has no impact internationally. The 22nd of July in 1963 was the day when the British colonial flag was lowered and Sarawak flag was raised before the official dating of MA 63 on 16 September. Therefore, no official law ever passed to give Sarawak her independence. That is why Sarawak has never been independent after joining Malaysia. So the next question will be, does Sarawak have a right to independence? Many of the Sarawakians love to ask this question. Do Sarawak have a right to independence? I'm here to tell everyone, especially fellow Sarawakians, that yes, Sarawak has a right to independence because this is an international right in United Nations Resolution 1514 on granting of independence to colonial countries and people. So we know that Sarawak have international rights to independence. The UN resolution, the United Nations Resolution 1514 has the force of law recognized by international community. And Malaysia, as a member of the nation, has to respect this resolution. Therefore, the next question that all of the Sarawakians would like to know is that how can Sarawak be independent? Many say that Parti Bumi Kenyalang, you say that Sarawak has right to independence. But how Sarawak achieve her independence? Therefore, I would like to tell everyone that the UN International Court of Justice in 2010 opined that Kosovo, a non-independent state with independent Serbia, has intrinsic right to independence as provided by the Decolonization Act 1960. So according to the case of Kosovo, Sarawak can do the same thing. Kosovo in 2000 at the February 17 in its assembly unilaterally declared independence through a show of hands by 108 of its assemblymen. So we know that Sarawak can do exactly the same thing. Guided by this international law and the case law, we know that Sarawak can unilaterally declare independence. So some people say that, or ask that, or scare that, will independence seditious? Many of the Sarawak people will ask this question. As we know that in 2018, Prime Minister, our EX Prime Minister, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, he said that he believed that Sabahan and Sarawakians will not ask for independence, even though there is no provision in the Malaysia Agreement 1963 say that they cannot do so. This is what was stated by our ex-prime minister. So what did he mean? He was implying that Sarawak can claim her independence, and it is not seditious. Why? Because there's no provision in MA 63 agreement say that Sarawak cannot do so. And there's no provision under our federal constitution say that Sarawak cannot exit from the Federation of Malaysia. Therefore, the most important point is that Sarawak can have her independence. Sarawak have the rights to the independence, and it is not seditious for Sarawak to seek her independence. So like what I shared just now early on from the beginning, we know that under our federal government, Sarawak has lost a lot of her autonomy and rights in the past 58 years. And things has never been better. So my fellow Sarawakians on the live tonight, we know that independence is the only way for Sarawak right now. We are not afford to lose any more time, because we can see that what federal government is doing or was doing never brings any advantage to the Sarawak, never protects the rights of Sarawak and Sarawakians, like the Petroleum Development Act. All our resources from oil and gas are taken away by the federal government. That's why Sarawak is like 40 years, 30 years lag behind compared to Malaya. Is it fair to us if GPS claimed that MS63 is valid? If GPS has intention to restore the rights of Sarawakians and Sarawak, they should challenge all this Petroleum Development Act and Territorial Sea Act in the court, because all these acts were passed and breached and are all inconsistent with MS63 agreement. But did our beloved GPS government did so? Or are they going to do so? No. Therefore, independence is the only way for Sarawak. Parti Bumi Kenyalang is using Unilateral Declaration of Independence, UDI, as it is recognized under international law. It is the fastest and effective way for Sarawak to get her independence, because we know that we are not affording to lose any more time. As times go on, we knew that all the policy imposed or going to imposed by our federal government do not protect the rights of Sarawak. So I hope all the Sarawakians and friends online tonight know that Sarawak must get her independence for a better tomorrow. I will talk about more on UDI in our next Facebook Live. Thank you. So I will see you guys again in our next Facebook Live session. Thank you. That's what I want to share tonight. Thank you, everyone. Good night.